Ayala for the roll call.
President Dominguez.
Present.
President Pro Temp Peck.
Present.
Councilor Dice.
Present.
Councilor Hart.
Present.
Councilor Rosario.
Present.
Councilor Natartes.
Present.
You have 6 present.
All right. I want to welcome everyone this evening, everyone that's here in our chamber. Welcome those that are watching through our YouTube channel. Welcome. Welcome to Deputy Director Donna. Welcome. Attorney Landrigan, Mayor Passero, Nancy, who tonight is taking the place of Jenny. So she is our administrative assistant. Welcome. And City Clerk Jonathan Ayala, welcome. With that, I want to open it up to Councilor Rosario, who will lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, President Dominguez. Heavenly Father, we have come before you with humble hearts. Grant us clarity in our decisions, patience in our disagreements, and unity in our decisions. Bless each member here with integrity, discernment, and a spirit of cooperation. Let us set aside personal interests and work for the greater good of our community. May every decision made today reflect your will and bring fairness, peace, and prosperity to those we represent. We place this meeting in your hands, trusting in your divine wisdom. In your hands' holy name, we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now in Spanish. Prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación ante Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
I want to welcome Councilor Sadi to the meeting. Welcome. At this time, there is no public hearings, and I need a motion to approve the regular meetings of January 21st, 2025.
So moved.
All right, it's been seconded?
Second by Hurtado.
Okay. Any omissions, abstentions, or additions? All right, Councilor Sadi, you have the floor.
So, on page...
Councilor Sadi, make sure your mic is on. All right, and speak right into the mic.
Yes, on page 3 of 8, during public comment, Councilor Rosario thanked Frida Berrigan for being here. I also thanked her and notified her that I'm the liaison to PAC, and I'm hoping that she would be appointed shortly. Later on, I made a motion which failed, and Councilor Rosario stated that she is always respectful to everyone, and that she feels disappointed in me. And President Dominguez also established the rules that the applicants would be vetted together in caucus. For the record, I just want to make it perfectly clear that I didn't disrespect anybody, that application was in fact vetted, and I believe was supposed to be approved last meeting. So I don't know whether I guess the minutes can't be amended to reflect that, but I want to make it part of this record that that's exactly what took place. Thank you.
So,
That's it, no
That's it?
motion, no motion on
no
that.
motion, you just wanted to
Nope.
speak on that? Okay. Okay. Anybody else that wants to share a little bit more? All right. Okay, let's vote. Let's vote to approve the minutes of January 21st, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion carries 7-0. All right, public comment. I need that list, thank you. So while Nancy's getting the list for me, again, just some logistics. When your name is called, please come to the chair right in front of us. Make sure that there's a mic in front of you. Make sure that you're speaking directly into the mic. Make sure that the light is green. The other thing is make sure that you state your full name and address, because this goes for the record. It's a public record. Want to make sure that you are audible and being able to be heard. So that's about it. The other thing is, City Clerk Jonathan Ayala will motion, you have 3 minutes allocated to you, 3 minutes. After the 1 minute mark, he'll let you know there's 1 minute left. That's just a courtesy to let you know to please, you have a minute to start closing on your statement. Eventually, at the 3 minute mark, I will say time is over. All right, with that said, our first speaker is Robert Stuller.
Good evening. Is this working? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'm here to talk about soil because
Yeah, but name, again, full name,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
yep,
Bob Stuller, 19 Evergreen Avenue, New London.
thank you.
And I've been around agriculture for a long time, and it's become clear to me that soil is the basis of everything in agriculture, and unfortunately, it's a dwindling resource. In sustainability, we had a map of the arable land in New London, and it was awesome. More than half of the area of New London is farm quality land, except I was also on conservation when we did the Easy Street development. They had to put down 4 feet of fill over that agricultural land because they had used chlorinated hydrocarbon type of pesticides in there, chloridane, celdane. They had spent $1.5 million digging out contaminated soil, and plus 4 feet of fill before they could put houses on them. And I don't think I would live there, knowing that underneath there was that kind of pollution. So I think we have to treasure our good soil here, and it's pretty rare. I was involved with Fresh early on, and they were gifted 40 soil tests, and they went around and picked out 40 sites in town. This was Arthur Lerner that did this, and when he got them back, he was pretty upset to find that there were only 2 out of that 40 that you could grow crops in, and that was this garden that we're talking about. This is 8.3, by the way. This garden we're talking about was one of them, and across the street was the other. So with that, I'm going to leave you with that thought for now. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Marijo Logan.
Good evening. My name is Mary Jo Logan. I'm at 121 Pequot Avenue. And I'm also here to speak on the garden on Adelaide Street. And the garden on Adelaide Street has been developed by many people and supported community gardening, which is to have individuals that are working and putting their own expense into their gardens, along with grant money that's been given to the garden and the fencing. It's also a very important piece of the community. It's also very expensive to move a garden. And that shouldn't fall on the onus of the people in the community garden. As Bob just mentioned, that soil is a rare commodity in the city. It's also very expensive to move it to a new location. You'd also have to move the fencing. There's also raised beds in the garden and a shed. And my nonprofit also helped to install raised beds on the outside of that garden for the community to come through and pick their own vegetables or fruits that were grown there. And I would like the council to realize that when they're going through the other piece of property, which is valuable to the Habitat for Humanity group and public housing. And it's not public housing, it's affordable housing. That's
1
also
minute.
valuable. So I would hope that you would consider both places and how to work out a reasonable, positive outcome for both of them so that that garden can live on, and that the city would put money into making that happen. So thank you very much for considering. Have a good evening.
Okay, our next speaker is Shanice Austin.
Alrighty. Good evening, councilors. Good evening, everyone. Over the weekend, you all should have received an email from me asking you to vote to refer the sale.
Shanice, could you state your name and full address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Shanice Austin, 1132 Ocean Avenue. Thank you. Asking you to vote to refer the sale of the Adelaide properties to Habitat to Humanities, to Planning and Zoning for proper vetting. I wanted to save the why behind that request for tonight so that I can talk to you in person. As you know, the first parcel of the 3 being offered to Habitat contains the Riverside Community Gardens. This is a garden that has been in existence for at least 10 years. This garden has been maintained and cared for by community members, and its use is to grow food to feed their families and neighbors. Decisions that impact gardeners, any community space really, should be vetted, should take time, should have input. I want you all to think about a time in your lives when decisions were made that impacted you, that did not ask you or take into account your input. How did that make you feel? Whether it was work, school, family, decisions that impact individuals, especially in our city, because we care about everyone that's a part of our city, should include impact, should include input. I also think it's important that we consider that we are displacing the gardeners without a plan, at least a plan that has not yet been revealed. And that should not happen. Affordable housing in New London is important.
1 minute.
Food access is also important. Do we want to set a precedent that says one is more important than the other? I think there's a better way. I think as a community, we can come up with a better solution. So let's vet this sale as well as the process, because more important than the sale of these parcels is how we move forward as a community. What is the process when we're looking and talking about community spaces, garden spaces? I know our city cares about these important issues, and I think, again, let's have that reflected in a better solution. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Kathy Strother.
Kathy Strother, 19 Bowles Avenue. Good evening. So I am also here with regards to our community garden in, on Adelaide in northeast New London, and I'm also asking that you refer the sale. The garden is a big asset for our community, more so than people can imagine. It's full to capacity. For 10 years, people have been taking care of it, offering free food to the neighbors, which is always taken, has brought our neighborhood together, and to just not consider anybody who's a part of that community and just go ahead and sell this parcel, even though affordable housing is important, you're also remembering that these are a lot of people involved, blood, sweat, and tears, putting the beds together, all that soil constantly turning over. It has been a long process. So I'm asking you guys just to refer it. And remember, we are part of the community as well. So our thoughts should be considered as well. That's it before I run out of time. Thank you.
Right, that was our last speaker. At this time, there are no petitions. 5C, response to public comment. I'm going to start. I think I started on this side last time. I'm going to go over to them this time. Go ahead, Councilor Sadi, we'll start with you.
So under D1, City Council Liaison, are we on the legal one?
Say it again, I couldn't hear you.
Are we at number 2, Director of Law?
No, we're in response to public comment.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you.
Yep.
So to Rob Stewart, Mary Jo Logan, Denise Austin, and Kathy Strother, thank you for coming out. I am in total agreement with you. There needs to be a solution. The garden needs to be saved. But having said that, this city needs affordable housing for its residents. And there has to be a solution where that, my recommendation would be for the garden to be moved to a place, again, when these other 2 houses and/or 3 are constructed, depending on how it ends up working out. Because right now, we're considering 3 building lots, which would eliminate the garden totally. And even if it were 2, who knows whether or not the sunlight would be blocked. Having had discussion with a number of people, I think it can be a win-win situation, that if in fact we refer this to Planning and Zoning, 8-24, for sale, and at the same time, move the garden to a more appropriate place, including the fencing and the shed and the soils that have over the years has been, as somebody said, tilled. I was in a similar situation with Hope a couple of years back, and I can tell you that I had a similar sized lot that was either 2 or 3 building lots, and they put affordable housing on those lots down on Belden Street, and it brought a great amount of hope for that area, because it was a vacant lot, and it's now affordable housing. And that did not go, I did not sell that piece of property for $1 or for free. And I would recommend to this council to seriously consider being reimbursed at least enough money so that we have the financial ability to move the fences and the sheds and the soils to a more appropriate spot. I favor directly across the street in the Riverside Park. But again, some study has to be done because I believe that area is somewhat utilized by other members of the community, whether it be to play baseball with their children or soccer or whatever, because it is, a very nice flat grass area. But once again, win-win, both affordable housing and the garden. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Natatas?
Thank you, President Dominguez. 8.3 is a referral. So tonight we're going to vote just to refer it to planning and zoning. I have never seen this garden, and it's unfortunate because it sounds like it's a big part of this community. And I agree, moving soil is expensive, and nobody wants to plant vegetables on contaminated soil. I didn't know, Mr. Stoller, that I believe that Arthur tested all those sites. That sounds like Arthur. I wasn't aware that only 2 of the 40 were appropriate for growing vegetables. We 2 months ago or a month ago, we had a presentation. In fact, I'm sorry, she's in the Chamber Council tonight on affordable housing. This was like a 2 hour and a half presentation with statistics that showed we're way behind when it comes to housing, not only in the city of New London, but in the state of Connecticut. So this is not a easy decision. I mean, I'm going to vote in favor to refer it, but also to follow up with planning and zoning and the mayor to find out what discussions have been had in the outside of council chambers to make this happen, because it sounds like Councilor Sadi said, yeah, we need affordable housing, but we also need to move the garden to a different plot. So more to come on that. I mean, I have to be honest, I've never seen this site, and this is the first I'm hearing of it tonight. Thank you, President Dominguez.
Councilor Rosario?
Thank you, President Dominguez. Thank you, all of you, who are concerned about this garden. We see your point. This vote tonight is to refer, I believe, to move it. Affordable housing is important, but food is important as well. I am with Mr. Sadi and Ms. Nartates. We have to find out the way to move this spot for a better place. We care about the residents who are, concerning about this place because it has been in there for a long time, and it's a community, let's say, service, because I see how people share ideas, how we can interact with people there, and really that's important. I appreciate you all being in here tonight to express your concern. But as Almar Nartates just said, we need to refer that to the planning and zoning and find out how we can find a better spot for these. Affordable housing is important, and I understand too that the food is important as well. Thank you so much all for being here tonight. Thanks.
President Pro Tem Peck?
Thank you, President Dominguez, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening, despite the little bit of snow that's on the ground out there. I just quickly just want to address the fact that, you know, affordable housing is very important. And I know the same group that is here speaking about the snack bed on Adelaide Street is the same group that has tirelessly been talking about affordable housing. So I'm just a little confused because this is a great deal. This is a great thing that's happening. I mean, we're adding affordable housing, home ownership, you know, allowing individuals to lay their roots in this city, to you know, raise their family in a beautiful area. This part of the city is just a very beautiful area. You get views of Thames River, you have Riverside Park, and I agree with my colleagues, if there's some way we can work to make everyone happy, I would like to see that, as far as, you know, moving the snack bed to another location. And I just also want to highlight the fact that we are getting some new snack beds. Director Posey is here. I've heard from him that there is some talks of having a snack bed at the new community center, Fort Trumbull. And then also, I've been working along with the mayor and others with the Hempstead community. They're going to have a snack bed in their part of town. That's going to highlight the new work that is being done with that parcel of land that was that the city bought from Shiloh. And then to talk about food insecurity, our city does a great job of addressing food insecurity. You have the Place, who has the food pantry, the bodega. You have the food pantry that's at the VFW. Shiloh Baptist Church has a food pantry. So there's many spots within the city that addresses food insecurity, and we do a great job of that. So I think this is more of an emotional attachment, and I get it, and I understand it, I respect it, but I think we have to really be clear of what we're looking for. Are we looking for affordable housing? Are we looking for saving snack beds? Which one is it? I think we just have to kind of work together to, you know, find a fine line as far as what we're really asking for, because it seems like it's a little bit of confusion. The Habitat for Humanity, I like this organization. They're a very reputable organization, been around for decades. And I followed a lot of their work that they've done throughout the city, and I couldn't be more happy or proud to have them, you know, in this venture in our city. So that's all I have to say tonight. President Dominguez, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and thank you all.
Councilor Dice?
Yes, through you, President. First of all, it's something that Pro Tem just said. He said a place to lay your roots and then and I thought about grow your roots. And full disclosure, I have been a part of Fresh New London and Community Land Trust. So just for everyone to know that I know the importance of affordable homes, and I understand the importance of fresh food being grown fresh. With that being said, one of the things that I have been so thankful for as I sit here on council is that the work that has happened between Fresh, the city, and, you know, offering land so they could make sure that food is being grown. And I can say that I was there when they, you know, did the beds and all that in that area. And then across the road at Riverside Park, our kids did, because we were dealing with bees dying. And we wanted to have an area where I can't even think, but to make sure that the bees are growing, to pollinate the plants and so forth. So I understand the importance. So one of the things I want to say is that when we're thinking about how we can work together, what I believe is going to happen, because of the evidence that I have seen transposed in our city, that include, I watched Fresh grow on Cottage Street. I seen them on Broad Street, McDonald Street. This was a partnership. So I don't think that the city's gonna drop that partnership. So I just wanna put that out there. Yes, it needs to be reformed. Yes, I wanna see 3 more homes because it's important. And I love the fact that it was Mary Jo and Bob said, look, you know, we willing to move, we just need that help, that financial help. And that's what I love when people say, this is what I need to make this happen. And I felt that energy, you saying, look, it took us a long time to find that place because it was land that wasn't fertilized, or not fertilized, but it wasn't good land in other places. We tested 48 sites, or 50 sites, we only had 2, or whatever the numbers were. So in other words, I'm listening, I understand, and it sounds like you saying, you know what? We understand affordable homes, we need to get those up, but we still need help and support so we can move the fence, the water, the raised bed and stuff. So hopefully I heard what you were saying and repeated it back properly. I yield the floor. Thank you.
Councilor Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to everyone who came and spoke, and to those of you who came even just to be with us tonight. I want to say that I have a great respect for the work and the investment that the Conservancy has put into creating and maintaining those gardens in a partnership with the city, and I hope that our partnership is strong enough that we will respect this investment and protect this investment. I'm really encouraged to hear that some of my colleagues who have spoken before me seem to be on the same page about the importance of these gardens. And that's why when 8.3 comes up tonight, I do plan to pull it, and I plan to offer a small amendment that just instructs the Planning and Zoning Committee to include the community garden as part of their discussion, so that that discussion gets had on the public record, and that investment gets considered along with the sale. And I'm just going to repeat the request of the community and restate my own previous requests here on the public record to the mayor and the administration to please go back to work on this deal until we find a win-win that can preserve the community garden. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone, and again, thank you for all those that came out and to speak, especially. We are referring this property to Planning and Zoning this evening. That's what this vote is for. But I do agree with almost all my councilors that we need to find another place for this garden. That's my area, that's my neighborhood. So many times I've seen Bob and Rana and so many others there, Kathy. So it is needed, so that's what I'm gonna, that's my voice. That's what I want to say this evening, to find a place for the garden. All right, with that, we will move on. Okay, reports and communications. City Council Student Liaison Jaden Alexis is here with us. Thank you for being here. It is a school night, so whenever you have to go, sir, you just go ahead and do your thing. But we appreciate you. All right, with that, we are going to go to the Director of Law, Attorney Landrigan. Any questions? And I'm going to start on my right side over here. Any questions? Either Councilor Hart, Dice, or President Pro Tem Peck? No? If not, I'm going to go over here. All right, Councilor Sadi, go ahead.
Through you, Council President, to Attorney Landrigan on the general side, number 3, Adelaide property, emails with ODP, potential sale of property to Habitat for Humanities, viewed subdivision file, prepare CAM language for council agenda. Is there any legal and binding contract on that property with the community garden at this point in time that you're aware of?
None that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. And then moving on to the litigation side, number 2, Jefferson Avenue drainage claim, phone calls and emails with plaintiff's attorney. Are we getting any closer to settling this issue?
I'm cautiously optimistic. The parties have a trial the end of March, I believe it is, so it's going to come to a conclusion one way or the other. But the conversations that I've had with Veolia and Public Utilities and the parties, there seems to still be some middle ground that might be achieved.
And does that mean there's any type of plan to remediate?
Any settlement's going to be global among a lot of the parties. Right now, all we're looking at is the city as one of the parties, what could be offered by way of in-kind services.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Thank you. All right, with that, there's no council committee reports. We'll move right into the mayor's Office of Communications. Good evening, Mayor Passero, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. It is Black History Month, and I was happy to join Councilor Dice. When was it? Friday? Yeah, Friday, to put up the Black Heritage flag. So that's flying in front of City Hall. It'll be there for the month. You have in your packet under 7.1 B, the end of the year report of the Fair Rent Commission. I just want to make sure that you take a good look at that. They've accomplished a lot in this year. We have a lot of people to thank for that, including the chair, Al Kinzel. This is the second time that he has stood up a brand new commission in the city. You'll recall many years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, he started the Veterans Advisory Committee, and that has been very successful. He has since passed on the chair of that committee, and he volunteered to help get this one set up. He has very capable city staff to assist him with Yamila from the Community Development Office. And we have a number of attorneys that have worked with us to get this done, and really everybody on that commission has put in a lot of time getting trained, and they've already had a significant impact helping folks with their relationship with their landlords. So we appreciate that work. Our police chief has recently received a significant honor. He was selected and appointed to the 2025 to 2026 Board of Directors of the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association. And it's a significant honor and privilege, and it reflects our department's commitment to excellence and leadership within the policing community. So Chief Wright has just been doing a remarkable job, and this is great acknowledgement of the great work that our police department is doing. I have some anniversaries in our police department. And I'd like to congratulate Master Police Officer Richard Cable. He's just completed 24 years. Sergeant John Mashad and Officer Doreen Coe have completed 19 years of service. Thomas Northrop has completed 17 years of service. Our Animal Control Officer, Kelly Dusso, has completed 7 years of service. And Investigator Roland Denoise has completed 5 years of service. And the following employees have completed 4 years of service. Anna Agnew, that's Investigator Anna Agnew, Officers Dexter Johnson, Samuel Lindblom, Christine Nocito, and Richard Perez. And our new records clerk, Alicia Maynard, has just completed her first year of service. So I think it's important to recognize these employees because they all do a remarkable job. There's just a couple of other employee milestones. We have a firefighter who has completed 40 years of service, Newt Malinowski. And I'll tell you, I had the privilege of serving with firefighter Malinowski, and he has served on the ambulance throughout his 40 years of service. That is very, very rare for somebody to be able to hold up that long in that job. Also, Don York, an electrician maintainer too, has completed 25 years of service. February 4th, that's Wednesday, right? If I'm thinking of the calendar correctly, is Transit Equity Day. Transit Equity Day is in honor of Rosa Parks' birthday, and it recognizes her pivotal role in the civil rights movement, and it also tries to raise the profile of public transportation as a key component in social and economic equity. Public transit is more than just a way to get from one place to another. It's a lifeline connecting people to opportunities, education, healthcare, and community in Eastern Connecticut. I'm proud to serve on the seat board, and on Wednesday will be a fare-free day throughout the seat system. So all rides on seat buses Wednesday will be free, including our Smart Bus, Smart Ride. I think, I left on your desk a list of the new employees. Really want to thank Tina Collins. She has one admin to help her. The amount of work that we put on our personnel director. A city like ours really should have a human resource department. We have one personnel director with an admin, and the amount of work she's expected to do is incredible, but she gets it done, including filling vacancies constantly. We're constantly hiring, looking for great people, and giving individuals access to public employment and a great career. That's it. One last thing. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Conway Gym, New London boys basketball is taking on St. Bernard's. It's a big one. I'm looking forward to that. Get there early because the parking is like impossible. And that's it.
All right, any questions? I'll start with Councilor Dice.
Mayor, I just want to make note that Debbie Phillips took time to make sure that we had the flag. She washed it, ironed it, and delivered it on Friday so we can raise it. And one thing that I appreciate about our city is that anyone who want to acknowledge their heritage and raise their flag, I have watched this happen here at City Hall. And I just want to say thank you for continuing that, because that's very important. As people drive by, they honk their horn, they take pictures, they get excited to see their personal flag of their heritage being acknowledged. So thank you. And I just want a clarification. Is it the 4th? Because tomorrow is the 4th.
Okay.
And I want to make sure I get that free ride. Okay.
Yeah, that's important.
Okay.
You're going to miss the free bus rides if you wait till Wednesday then.
So, yes, so I just want to clarify that, and I think about diversity, equity, and inclusion is really important, and that's what I appreciate about this mayorship and this community. You guys, look around here. You all represent New London, and I tell you, it is a diverse group that's here right now, and I got to say thank you.
So I have to acknowledge the Dominican community because they contacted me shortly after I was elected, probably about 9 years ago, and they were the first ones to request having their flag put up. And every year it seems like more and more of the different nationalities in our city, represented in our city, have come forward. So any given month, you'll find a different flag. We should actually get a third flagpole because the state of Connecticut flag doesn't end up on that flagpole very often. Very proud of that. I should have addressed the elephant in the room tonight, the community garden, just to clarify. When Habitat first approached us with interest in the property, of course, we were thrilled with the partnership. We did ask them to, when they subdivided it, to if they could just do two buildings and leave the garden, and that was the original plan. I'm not sure what happened after that, but it turned out not to be feasible. I don't have any firsthand knowledge of the communications that went on. I know there was communications between Habitat and Fresh, But it certainly is disappointing, but it's also great to have a partner like Habitat, and this project is just so ideal. Very disappointing to have to disrupt the garden. I did have, in the last couple of weeks, Director Sear did look at the piece of property on the other, across the street on the corner of Crystal. I have a plot that he drew out. I do want to discuss that at the Parks and Rec meeting Wednesday. And I don't know if Mr. Stuller has tested that soil. But one thing you don't have to worry about is, I think the city has been, our work with all of our groups like Fresh, the Beautification Committee, New London Trees, Public Works donates a lot of time to those organizations. I shouldn't say donates, but they allocate a good portion of their time to help, whether it's planting trees or certainly other projects. So, I mean, I don't see that ever stopping, that partnership. So, however this turns out, we're in the process. Habitat has put a lot of work into the project already. They've been to planning zoning once for the subdivision. They've been to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and now they'll be back to planning and zoning if you pass the referral tonight. And we'll just keep working our way through the process.
Okay. Before I give it to you, President Pro Tem, let me recognize Parks and Rec Director, Director Posey, who's here, and ODP Director, Director Reyes, who's here also. Thank you. Go ahead, President Pro Tem. Peck, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Dominguez. I just want to thank the mayor, as my colleague, Councilor Dice had stated. I just love how our city is very welcoming, and we allow all different backgrounds and ethnicities and faith-based groups, and you name it, to be seen. And it's beautiful because I just like the fact that we are welcoming, and it shows that New London sees everybody and we don't exclude anybody. I also want to just highlight that Lonnie Braxton has been doing different movies at the public library. And I believe if you check the public library's website on Fridays, he puts on some great Black History Month movies. Yesterday, I went to Norwich to see Who We Are, that was put on by Lonnie Braxton, and just encourage everyone to just seek out some of the great things that are happening through the month of February and that highlights Black History Month. So again, thank you all for, just highlighting some of the great things that are happening. And also, Mayor, I'm glad that you did talk a little bit about the snack beds, and I just wanted to, that I forgot, I'm no stranger to Fresh. I remember Arthur early on when Fresh was starting. I had worked a little bit around the Fresh group. So I do respect gardens, and I like gardening myself. So again, I'm glad that the mayor has recognized the fact that, the city has been a good partner with Fresh and the whole group with the growing of the vegetables and the gardening and all the great stuff. So, so I think it's just a matter of just finding the right fit. That's all I have to say this evening. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, we're good. Did you want? All right, thank you, Mayor Passo. All right, with that, President Pro Tem Peck, consent agenda, please.
Thank you, President Dominguez. Consent agenda, that the consent agenda proposals set forth at the regular meeting, February 3rd, 2025, are either accepted for the record, 2, referred to the committee name, 3, waived from the committee to be acted upon as proposed, consented to as proposed. Thank you.
Councilors, you know the drill. I'm going to call these out, and then if you're interested in pulling it, make sure you state your name and pull it. All right, 7.0, unfinished business, 7.1A. B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Pull.
Who was first here? Was that,
I'm not
Hart?
sure who was first, but
I'll give it to Hart. He said pull too. So, yeah, all right, then Hart, you have it. All right, 8.0 new business. 8.1. Okay. 8.2. 8.3.
pull.
Hart.
Hart.
8.4. 8.5. 8.6. 8.7. 'All right, there are no appointments, no executive session. Okay. Let's go to the roll call. City Clerk Jonathan Ayala, you have the floor, sir.
Point of order.
Yes.
President, I think everything was pulled.
No,
Oh,
no, that's okay.
I'm sorry,
that's
excuse me.
E and F and G were not pulled. It's all right. I made sure, Councilor Dice, I looked over, because I thought the same thing. But those two, yep, you're welcome. All right, let's go, City Clerk Jonathan, Ayala, go ahead.
Councilor Natartez. Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Councilor Dice.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Peck.
Yes.
Councilor Rosario.
Yes.
President Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Sadi.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
Make sure that you move to cam before you speak. And the other thing is too is, I'm gonna take this point of order. Attorney Landrigan, I have a question. I have established in this meeting as the president of the council to have every counselor, when they post something, to ask 2 questions, to allow other counselors to come in with their 2 questions. My question is, since I am the chair and I established that, is that something that I can do?
Yeah, for the orderly conduct of the business, yes.
Thank you. All right, so, with that said, you're first, Councilor Sadi, go ahead.
Move to cam.
Sick.
I don't know what happened. What happened? No, they already seconded.
We did it both at the same time, sir.
Yeah, but I gave it to Councilor Rosario.
So my apologies to the administration committee for being late at the last meeting. Just want to make it perfectly clear that as the liaison to the Pedestrian Advisory Committee, there are 4 vacancies. We have at least 3 applications, and we need to fill it ASAP. Pedestrian Advisory Committee is scheduled to meet again on Thursday, and very concerned that with the 4 vacancies, we will not have a quorum. And this committee basically meets to take a look at streets and sidewalks that need repair, and they need to be done. They need to meet sooner than later to make recommendations so that we have the ability to fund projects in our next year's budget. And I find it very, very frustrating that this committee has not filled the 4 vacancies in the Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And I would strongly recommend that if we can't do it this evening, we do it ASAP. So I would like to refer that issue back to the Administration Committee.
Okay, that's been referred to. Okay, so it's either, right, referred to committee or accepted for the record. So let's vote.
To refer to, my,
Yep,
is
so
to refer back to committee to
so-
fill.
Point of
the-
parliamentary inquiry, and I hate to step on you, but if it's a motion to receive minutes, I don't know if we have anywhere to refer it to. It's only referring to the minutes, not to the issue that was actually discussed.
Thank you for that point of order, Councilor Hart.
Right,
My apology. The CAM does read, and
thank you.
for the information of the council to be received for the record and/or referred to committee. So again, my motion is to refer it back to Administration Committee.
It says minutes of them, so you want to refer the minutes back to the administrative committee? That's what it says. Minutes of the administrative committee meeting of January.
That's my motion.
Okay, so again, this is going to be a yes or no, so all those in favor to refer the minutes of the administrative committee meeting of January 21, 2000 back to the administrative committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Nay. Okay. So we have 2 people that didn't vote.
I abstain because I didn't hear a second to that motion.
Well, we're going to do it over again so you can hear
I
it.
mean, just.
No, we're going to do it over so you can hear it clearly. We need everyone to vote on this.
Just as a further point of parliamentary inquiry, the CAM was moved originally. Mr. Sadi moved the CAM. It wasn't clear when we moved the CAM whether it was a receive or refer, so I believe the people who seconded that motion, which I guess would be you, Councilor Rosario, would have to re-second it if we get clarification whether it's a refer or an accept, because
All right, so take back your second, please, Councilor Rosario. Yeah, you may talk.
Thank you, President Dominguez. When we moved to CAM, this item, we just talk about accepting the minutes of that administration committee meeting, okay? I understand, Sadi, your frustration at this moment, but to bring those applications up and move the people who we want to move, we need to have an administration committee meeting first. So we can't.
Yeah, I know. Listen, let me.
We can't do that tonight.
Yeah.
And we want to move those applications as soon as possible.
Mr. Chair,
Hold on.
I don't want to interrupt our point of parliamentary inquiry with a debate, because it's not the time for debate, actually.
Let me get a moment here. So, again, Councilor Sadi referred, he said he motioned to refer, right, the minutes, all right? We got a second on it.
The motion made, he just said move the CAM. It wasn't clear whether the motion was a motion to receive or to refer. I believe Councilor Rosario seconded a motion to receive. So if she removes her second, then Mr. Sadi would have to make a motion to refer, and then we'd have to look for a second.
All right.
And then we could proceed. Does that make sense to everybody?
All right, thank you, Councilor Hart, appreciate it. Let me go right to the Attorney Landrigan first.
Yeah, just for clarification purposes, so 7.1 is for receiving for the record or referring to committee. Whenever this has appeared on the agenda, if it does not have in parentheses after the lettered item referred to a particular committee, the default is that it is received for the record. If you're going to change that default to referring to a committee, then that would be an amendment to the CAM, which would require a motion to amend it to refer it to a particular committee, and that would require a second. But the default setting for all of these, because none of them are being proposed to be referred anywhere, is that all of these are being received for the record.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, so,
So I guess going back to assistance, it was the CAM that was moved and seconded was to receive for the record.
okay.
If there's a motion to send these minutes back to a commission or committee, that would be a motion that would require a second, a vote on the amendment, and then a vote on the CAM as amended.
Has amended, yep. All right. Councilor Sadi?
I'm good.
Okay, so we're voting to, for the minutes to be received. Okay, is everybody clear? We're voting for the minutes to be received, for the record, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion carries 7-0. All right, that's you, 7.1B. Sadi, Councilor Sadi.
For the information the council received for the record, and end of year report, Fair Rent Commission dated January 15th, 2025. At this point in time, I'd like to thank Chairperson Council as Kinsel, as Mayor Passero stated. Very, very revealing report, and I would recommend that anybody that has anything to do with renting to review the report. So my motion is to receive for the record.
Okay,
That,
seconded by Councilor Hart. All right, all those in favor, let's vote, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries 7-0. Councilor Sadi, 7.1C.
Move to CAM, receive for the record, and then I have questions, and if necessary, I'll make a motion to amend to refer to Public Works Committee.
Okay, so let's have a second, somebody.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all right, so you want to make an amendment?
Through you, first I would like to ask a question of Mayor Passero. Through you, to Mayor Passero, correspondence from Eversource talks about vegetation management program. Does any of that come under our Public Works that we'd be required to do that? Or is that just Eversource notifying us that they plan on trimming back trees?
That's just Eversource notifying us.
Okay,
And the reason I put it here is so that it's in the public record somewhere. And
Okay.
you'll be receiving more of these because Amtrak sends one out. And there's another utility too. We get these annually.
so then my next question would be to, through you, Council President, to Attorney Londrigan. Do homeowners does Eversource have a right of way that they can just chop up trees however they want?
Well, I haven't researched everything, but on a macro level, Eversource has easements for their lines, and usually within the easements, those documents have maintenance and rights to trim and repair to preserve the lines.
If I could, Mr. Chairman. So I just know from experience that if the tree is on private property, they do leave an approval or
A note, whatever?
a note asking for your permission, and so you can say no, and I have, because they do butcher the trees. So, but if it's in the public right-of-way, those trees you see butchered up and down Montauk Avenue and whatnot, I don't know whether, I'm not aware of them ever getting the city's permission to butcher the trees. But these are also balancing public priorities. You know, people also are going to get upset when they lose their power, when the limbs fall on the line. So,
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Just to follow up with that, if we had left, if we had left our arboricultural standards in place, would those apply to the Eversource work being done? On public right-of-ways, that is?
In a vacuum, no. The easements, rights, what Eversource would be required to do would trump anything that we might have on a local level.
Interesting, thank you.
Okay. So, Councilor Sadi, you want this to be received for the record, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's vote, everyone. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion carries 7-0. Okay, 7.1D, Councilor Sadi.
Like to receive for the record, move to CAM. With a possible amendment. Through you, to Mayor Passero, a little bit concerned that we have a number of open vacancies for our municipality, Board of Education and Library, although I did hear you tell us that you are on that, I believe you said on that advisory council. No, that's right. You had mentioned seat. Who was responsible for filling these vacancies? I would assume the Board of Education does theirs, the library does theirs.
yeah, I've not had any luck recruiting anybody for these positions for years. So,
But is that
one of the points of putting it in the record here tonight is to get it out there.
is that the mayor's prerogative, though, or is that the administration committee's prerogative to find the three from the municipality?
I'd have to look into that. I believe early on in my first term, I'm trying to think, I might have found a couple people to take the positions, but I think it's the chief elected officials appointment, but I would want to verify that. At any rate, I've not been successful.
In fact, I apologize, the answer is actually answered in the letter from Connecticut Advisory. The senior elected official may appoint 3 members to 2-year terms. And for the record, I'd be more than glad to volunteer as one of those members if that's possible.
The city is self-appointed. Would you like to be sworn in tonight? There's no going back on this, you know.
And when do they meet?
I'll check into it. I'll follow up with you.
Thank you. I have no further questions. No.
Sorry. All those in favor to receive 7.1D for the record, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries 7-0. All right, Councilor Hart, letter H.
I move that we receive for the record item 7.1H, letter from the administration to the school system's finance director, Mr. Funk there.
Okay.
Looking at the copy of the letter, it's certainly nothing we haven't heard before. We understand the mayor wants the school system to live within certain revenue expectations. We've been around and around on that. My question for the administration is, and it looks like because time is growing short, the request is going to be made soon. We don't have any more joint budget task force meetings to have this discussion in relative private. But at the last one, the superintendent made overtures about shared services that could save the district and the city, you know, and potentially reduce the budget request up to $3 million. And I wanted to know what the city was doing to work with the school district through those programs to reduce the request. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so we are going, this is received for the record? Did you have a question?
It's a question to the mayor.
Oh.
He certainly doesn't have to answer it, but it's out there.
Well, I'm not going to debate it here. The finance director instructs all departments on what they can expect as far as the ability to increase their revenue. This is simply a letter to the school department giving them the same information. I believe that the schools have an equal responsibility to understand the revenue limitations of the tax base in this city. And every year I attempt to stop receiving a budget that asks for 14, 15, 18. In the course of the years that I've been in this seat, I've received some pretty outrageous requests for revenue increases. And we just have a philosophical difference where I believe that it should be a realistic ask. And I've been told that the Board of Ed's position is, no, we need to tell you what our full needs are and what we need. And so what that does is it sets up our community and divides our community, because our community then believes that there's some expectation that the city could possibly meet that need. So it does little good. I mean, the property tax system is our only revenue. It's very regressive. And in a poor city, it has the worst effects. And the last thing we need to do, especially in the housing situation we're in, is increase property taxes. And that's on the heels of being absolutely murdered with the reval last year, as we know. So all of our commercial properties went down in value. The tax burden was passed on to our households. People's taxes went up $1,000, $1,200, $1,400. So this year especially, the finance director's responsibility is to look at what the realistic revenue opportunities there are, and we're looking at a very difficult budget. My ask to the Board of Ed is to balance their budget, meaning we're telling you what the possible revenue increase is from the taxpayers. Do not set a budget that requires us to give you more than that, because it's not possible. I don't think that that's unrealistic. And I'm not going to debate that here tonight.
Yeah, you got one
A
more.
second
'cause-
question?
yeah,
Okay,
your
'cause,
second question.
You know, I know you say you didn't want to debate it, but it seems that you did, instead of answering my limited question, you sort of went into the whole big debate. So I just want to give you another chance on the record to answer my actual question, which is that you stated a goal in the letter, right? And there was an opportunity to work on that goal, and I just wanted to know what of those opportunities you're pursuing towards that goal. That's all I ask, and I don't want to get into the ideological debate or the numbers. I just want to know if there's been any movement on this cooperation towards the goal.
I explained the letter, Mr. President.
Okay. Councilor Sadi.
Thank you very much. First of all, to Director McBride, I plan on voting in favor of receiving this for the record. I want to thank Director McBride for following up. And I also want to thank the mayor for his leadership in this matter. It's very frustrating to me, as somebody that needs to set a budget for the city, to not have a fully transparent Board of Education budget. I believe that this council, loud and clear, with the exception of maybe one, has made it perfectly clear that they are not going to vote for an increase in the education budget without a transparent budget. I've had discussion with our Board of Finance, which ultimately has the power to say no increase whatsoever, has also said that they have expected. And we were in this exact same situation, but later in the year. We've made this request to the Board of Education as early as November, December, okay? So they can't tell us, well, it's now February, March, or April, and we can't do that. The mayor has also sent a very similar letter. The mayor has also forwarded to us a 2023 budget from a local school, an abutting school district, okay, that has a much more transparent budget. I was a member of that joint budget task force, and I'm not gonna mention names, but there's a leading member on that from the Board of Education side said, we do not have to, give what you're requesting. And I just wanna make it perfectly clear for this record that this council does not have to give any increase whatsoever. We are required by law, I believe, to fulfill whatever it is we gave last year. Okay? So I'm hoping that we can do the best we can. But with the administration we have in Washington today, and with all the types of drastic cuts he plans on making, especially within the educational realm, I mean, we've seen all the other stuff that's been going on. I'm not gonna use the word crazy, okay, but there's been a lot of stuff going on. And I'm very fearful, because again, understand, almost 1/3 of the education budget comes from the federal government. Now, we also received information today from the state of Connecticut that the governor is proposing up to $14 million, and it's not called educational cost sharing, educational grants for special education, which is beneficial. Okay, and I also want to remind this council and the public, okay, that last year, we were told they were going to receive an additional, I think it was 1.6 million, and then when it came down to the final budget, they never received that from the state of Connecticut. And so, but we ended up passing that on, and I would hope that that's not going to happen this year. But in reference to the vote itself, I do plan on receiving Director McBride's letter for the record. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. President, can I just clarify a couple?
Yes, Mayor Passo, go ahead.
Councilor Sade, I do appreciate your position, and I'm well aware of the position of the Board of Finance. But I just have to distinguish my position. I understand that I'm not in a position to really direct the Board of Ed on their priorities or how to budget their money that we give them. And I have utmost respect for the work they do with limited resources, as we do here in the city. My only point, and the finance director's point in the note, in the letter to Mr. Funk, was simply that instructing them as to what they could expect the city to be able to provide as far as increased funding for FY26. It's in the past, when the school system was under state receivership, the appointed overseer, Mr. Adamowski, would come to the council every year to inquire as to what to expect to be able to budget, and that's what would get budgeted as far as the increase in taxpayer support. And that's what I'd like to get back to. I'd just like to get back to, I'd like to have the Board of Ed budget their expenses and have that offset against their expected revenues they can anticipate. And in order to do that, they need to know what the city's going to be able to afford. So it's a little bit different issue than the transparency issue, but I understand the council's position on that. It was loud and clear last year. One of the Board of Finance members would not support the budget because she did not believe it had the information she wanted. Other finance board members have now expressed the same concern. So there seems to be a growing drumbeat. I'd like to avoid the issues. I think the information that's being requested is reasonable, and you do see it in other Board of Ed budgets. But what I'm asking right now, the process we're in right now, is I'm asking for every member of either the council or the Board of Finance that has these desires on seeing certain things in the Board of Ed's budget to please be specific, because there's no everybody's going to have a different understanding of what transparent means. So the Currently, right now, the finance director is working with the Board of Finance, and they are going to, the finance director is going to draft a letter telling the Board of Education exactly what the expectations are for the Board of Finance members. And if the council wants to do the same, then I'd advise them to do that as well. The time is running short. They are, I believe, going to publicly release their budget on the 19th. Does that
I think
sound?
next week.
Is it next week?
Is
No,
it the
they
12th?
haven't.
Two.
Yeah. We have to verify that.
2 weeks. I could be wrong.
Their budget presentation on the 12th and the 13th, and then they're doing the public forum one on the 19th. So they did invite us to go, for those that are able, on the 12th and the 13th, to go and attend their budget rollout presentation. All right? Okay. Okay, let's vote. Was yours to receive for the record? All right, okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion carries. All right, 8.1, Councilor Sadi.
Move to CAM.
Second.
City Council approves increasing Craig's contract, owner project manager at the Newland High School construction project. This amendment is to extend services for the project closeout phase from December 2024 through June 25 for not to exceed $52,500. The continuation of these services will ensure that all change orders, punch list, and subcontractor costs are accounted for in the submission of the financial documents requested by the state to audit the project. The council authorized the mayor to sign the purchasing agent to increase the purchase order in the amount of $52,500. So I plan to vote against this because I'm frustrated. We have a $110 million budget. We had timeframes, and then this council agreed with the mayor and authorized additional funding in the CREC contract for the middle school, well, excuse me, in the middle school budget, where we authorized tens of thousands of dollars to have this individual to work on the middle school budget, the middle school renovation project, and to oversee it. Okay, now we're going to spend an additional up to $52,500 to have her oversee, where if we hadn't authorized her to oversee the middle school budget, I believe maybe she could have been complete. And this has nothing to do with the employee themselves, because I think they do a wonderful job. But I'm just very frustrated, so I plan on voting against this motion. Not that we don't need the services, but something's got to give here. You know, we can't be, spending more taxpayer dollars. And I believe this will be not under reimbursable. So I don't know whether or not Councilor Hart, who is now the chairperson, wants to report on how this committee voted in reference to this.
Let me open it to any other councilor first that wants
So
to
that
talk.
was my first question, whether or not Councilor Hart wants an opportunity.
Okay. All right.
I think you mentioned at the last meeting that you were a dissenting vote. I honestly didn't go back and check the vote tally. But yeah, it was not a unanimous recommendation, and I think you make a very good point, Mr. Sadi.
So, Mr. President, as a point of privilege, I think I have to correct the record. CREC is the project manager for this $110 million project. And by the way, she was instrumental in getting us the extra $10 million. She has also successfully closed out the Winthrop School and the Nathan Hale School projects in record time, and cleared the audit. We owed the state of Connecticut no money. When I took office, there was any number of open school construction projects that hadn't been closed, including Jennings School. When it was audited, the state told us that we owed them $8 million. That took a lot of work and special legislation to get out from under that. We had a history of mismanaged school projects in this city. I teamed up with CREC before I was mayor, when I was chair of the School Building Maintenance Committee. And they have been flawless since then. And I'm expecting that CREC will be able to close out the 2 remaining open projects, the North Campus and the South Campus. They were hired, it's not relevant to this thing, but we did hire CREC to oversee the South Campus because Costas Diamandis, if you remember that name, had his fingerprints all over that project, did not like CREC, maybe because CREC was a little too smart and knew what was going on, and made sure that CREC was supposed to be and already was hired to be the project manager for the South Campus as well. But he had a lot of power, he managed to get her out of there and put his own project manager in. So I'm nervous about that, and I want to make sure that the South Campus closes out. Right now, and Chairman John Sadie has been the chairman of the School Building Maintenance Committee, I think since I was elected, when I stepped down. So you know very well there are 2 major problems that CREC has been telling us about. I've been here for 9 years in this job. The enrollment is wrong. The enrollment projections may not be met. And if they're not met, the penalties are in the millions of dollars. And the space waiver has never been obtained. Now, if we close out this project without that, and it's audited, we have no options. We have failed in those obligations under the grant, and the grant is 80% of this money. Right now, we are working through that. It's going to require going to visit the Commissioner of DAS. I'm going to have to do that. We've got to make sure before we close out this project and turn it over to the state auditors, which is a completely different department, independent of school construction, we have to finally get these issues resolved. And by the way, she has managed this project well, and it is under budget.
Okay.
So my second question will be
Yeah, he's got
to
second
Mayor
question.
Passero. Okay? And again, my frustration is this, and I appreciate the fact that he pointed out that I was chair of that committee for 9 years. When I started on that committee 9 years ago, CREC was probably one of the largest school management construction teams. They had over 20 people working in that office. They received millions of dollars to manage this project, over $2 million as part of this $110 million budget. Their team is no longer 20 people. We paid for 20 people. And yes, Diana McNeil was one of those. But they had a lot of members on their team to support her. Okay, now the team may be, if we're lucky, it may be 4 or 5. Okay, so we've paid $20 million for a team of 20 that hasn't been around for at least 5 years. And now it's going to cost the city of New London and our taxpayers an additional $50,000+. Okay, at, as he mentioned, 80%. Well, there's not going to be an 80% because it's going to be a change order. Okay, so it's going to be 100% on the taxpayers. And I just, like I said at the beginning of this thing, very, very frustrated. So I guess it's through you to Attorney Londrigan. How do we get back the monies from CREC so that I don't have a problem with employing her, but, you know, when we went into this thing, there was a team of 20. And shortly after the middle school project, a year or two later, is when actually Diamantinas did in fact cut CREC out of many school projects, not just New London projects. But when they no longer had funding coming in, they had no choice but to lay off team members. So we paid $20 million for a team, $2 million for a team, and now we're paying an additional $52,000 because the team has been cut in half or 3/4 or whatever it may be. Thank you.
Go ahead, Attorney Londrigan.
Yeah, I just personally, I'm not familiar this evening to be able to answer these questions. I haven't looked at those contracts in years. So I understand the question, but I just am not in no position whatsoever to talk about how we might sue CREC for, or sue somebody for the fact that there were economies of scale that reduced the team dedicated to our project.
Okay. I'm going to go to, let me go to Councilor, I don't want to make her wait.
Yeah.
Councilor Natsatis.
Yeah, thank you, President Dominguez. So just two questions. Where is the 52.5 coming, two questions. Where is that coming from in the budget? And the second question is, why was it not included in the original scope?
Because the project is taking longer than it was originally planned.
And why?
Because we're not closed out yet. This project started in 2014.
Yeah, I know, it's been around a long time,
Yeah.
but why is it, what's the reasoning for the delay?
The project is not ready to be closed out. It has to be closed out, and once we close it out, then we turn everything over to the state auditors, and it's in their hands, and they determine whether we get our 80% reimbursement. The remainder of it, we've been getting money all along, but they keep a retainage. And the auditors determine whether we get the rest of the 80% that they've withheld or whether we owe them money.
Okay, what's clear in the language, it talks about what the $52,000 is towards, but once again, it was, am I hearing this correctly, it was not part of the original scope?
I don't know if I can conceptualize it that way. She is the project manager for this and everything that entails. So it is in the original scope. It has just taken longer than originally planned.
And is this the last request that we're going to get before this is closed out?
I can't tell you that. I'm more worried about getting our money back. This is pennies compared to the $110 million project. And I have incredible, and this, by the way, I think all of that nonsense about the $2 million, I'd have to check that, but she's been on this project for 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that she's reputable, right? I mean, she's got us through some pretty
And the
hard
20
times.
people, let me tell you, CREC never assigned 20 people to this one project.
They don't typically do that. They don't say we have so many people for the project.
It's one project
Yeah,
manager
yeah.
that's assigned from
No,
that
I
office.
understand that, I understand that. So just the last question, where is the 52.5 coming from?
Oh, it comes out of the school construction budget.
It does, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other councilor? President Pro Tem Peck.
Thank you, President Dominguez. I just want to first thank Councilor Sadi for raising this question, because he's always, been a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars. And I just want to thank the mayor for giving us a little history for some of those councilors who weren't around when the beginning of this deal. So I don't know. I don't see any real anything wrong with this proposal or CAM. I don't know. I just think that it is what it is. I mean, where we are at this point. I mean, there's not much else we can do. We're, you know, the deal's pretty much been laid out, and there was a lot of time and effort put into this deal, and I don't think that it's fair to walk it back. It's just a matter of just going with the deal that we all agreed on. That's all I have to say.
I can
Right,
tell you.
let
that-
me go to,
Let me just respond to that. I can tell you that you will never get a better return on $50,000 than you are here. And I can tell you, I mean, this woman also closed out the STEM High School project for us, which had been open for 20 years, and we
Yeah.
never closed out the project. We're down to, when she closes out these two projects, the City of New London may be free of school grants for the first time in 30, 40 years.
So I just want to.
Councilor Dice, go ahead.
Thank you, President. To you, it must, probably the finance director or the mayor, just want to make sure that the funds, this 52, is coming from contingency plan. You guys, because you don't know what's going to happen, or is it's in the budget? So basically, because it sound like, that, I mean, that's my understanding. Exactly, because I think Natada asked the same question, Counselor asked the same question, and I just want to reiterate, where is the money, the 52,000 coming from? Is it already in the budget?
The money is already in the budget, in the project.
Perfect. I yield the floor.
Yes, and I just want to say this, you know, Diane, since we named her, I mean, you look at the amount of money, but you look, if we don't close this properly and do what we're going to owe millions of dollars, and that's coming from the taxpayers. And she's been successful, overwhelmingly successful. So, I mean, for me, I'm going to approve this. Who's next?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just want to remind the council too that the two issues that are threatening our ability to get reimbursement on this project are the enrollment.
The enrollment?
The enrollment projections, which CREC does not control, and she has been asking for that issue to be resolved for years, literally years. Still gets little cooperation in trying to get that resolved. And the space waiver, which she has worked on for years and been promised by DAS that they would provide the space waiver, and we've never gotten it. The thing is, we built a school that's too big for the population of students we have, under their regs and under the terms of the grant.
I see.
She's wrestling with this problem. It's not a problem she created. It's a problem she warned against, but could not get the support of the School Maintenance and Building Committee.
I
Councilor Hart.
wasn't gonna, but I do want to add a little more context. So like that, I think that plan was drawn up when we had 4 pathways. So I think that might have been part of what happened. And I hope that between the school system, CREC, and the State Department of Ed and school construction, we can get a resolution of this. So I'm fine extending it this one time, and I certainly hope 6 months is enough.
I've become pretty experienced in throwing myself at the mercy of the agencies up in Hartford to try to get forgiveness on these things. But I'd rather have CREC work this out now at this stage. And so just have to reiterate that this you'll get a lot of value out of this contract extension.
Okay. Councilor Sadi.
So first, a statement, that being that the numbers, the enrollment numbers, are not coming from the project. The project, they came from the project, but the funding, if those numbers are not met, will come from the Board of Education. In other words, they will lose educational dollars if they don't meet the goals and objectives. And again, for the record, the reason I don't support this is because I believe that the original contract required start to finish. And it's not our fault as a city, as taxpayers, that they haven't finished. And this has nothing to do with the employee. I think the employee, as Mayor Passero has said, is doing a great job and has done a great job on many, many other projects. But I believe it's Craig's responsibility to pay her to finish the project that we have already paid for, if in fact we've exceeded the amount we were supposed to pay them. You know, when you contract to do a project, you do it. It shouldn't be extended. So I have no other questions at this point in time. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're going to vote. All right, 8.1 Craig contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the motion carries 6-1. All right, 8.2, Council Sadi.
Move to Cam.
Second.
City Council hereby resolves and City Council hereby resolves and authorizes the mayor to apply for $20,000 in funding to the Eastern Regional Tourism District to fund the implementation of tourism campaign and to sign any and other documents necessary incidental to effectuating said grant. So in the backup, we have a $20,000 grant with a $10,000 match. So is it 10 and 10? My first question is it 10 and 10, or is it a total of 30?
So the total grant value would be $20,000, including our $10,000 match. So we're going after a $10,000 grant, so total will be $20,000.
So are we actually applying for a $20,000 grant or a $10,000 grant?
We're applying for a $10,000 grant. We have a line budget, we have a line item in our budget for grant matching dollars. We're gonna take $10,000 of that to apply for this. If we get this grant, we will have a total of $20,000 to apply to tourism.
And again, I just want to read the CAM. The city council hereby resolves and authorizes the mayor to apply for $20,000 in funding from Eastern Regional Tourism District to fund the implementation of the tourism campaign. But I believe the figure should be 10,000.
The figure should be 10,000.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the CAM to apply for 10,000.
Okay. You got a second? You gonna amend it?
Again, I'm ready to vote on the amendment.
Okay. Can you repeat the amendment, please?
Yes, the amendment is the city council hereby resolves and authorizes the mayor to apply for strike 20,000 and change it to 10,000. Because what it is the tourism district is gonna give us 10, and then we are gonna be responsible for a match of 10. The grant total is 20, but we're only gonna be applying for 10. That's my understanding, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, let's vote for the amendment. All right, all those in favor for the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, the amendment passes 7-0. Now let's vote. Oh,
My
let's-
second question is, it deals with a 22-minute documentary-style video showcasing the rich cultural heritage and vibrant, diverse community. Who is doing the documentary, and did it go out to bid?
So nothing's going out to bid. Quinn and Harry's our marketing agent. They're the ones that put the application together for us. So in previous years when we've gotten this grant, they take care of that as part of their responsibilities of being our marketing agency. So they would work with us on essentially finding out who's going to actually create the content. But they came up with the idea of applying for this grant with that concept.
My understanding is this is the third year of this grant?
This is, I believe so, yeah, this is the third year of the grant, that's correct.
I have no further questions, thank you.
All right, any other councilors? Seeing none, we're gonna vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The motion carries 7-0. Okay, Hart Councilor Hart, 8.3.
I'd like to move 8.3, the referral, section 8-24 referral.
Second. Second, Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, and I think we discussed the sort of outlines of the issue already. So the amendment that I spoke about earlier, if it's in order now, is simply to insert the phrase removal of the community garden, comma, and immediately before potential sale of. And this would allow that to be discussed at planning and zoning.
Point of order. Where exactly, sentence number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
All right, so I only have it as a paragraph form here, but it says pursuant to General Statutes 8-24, the City Council hereby refers to potential sale of certain real properties. So I would say hereby refers the removal of the community garden and potential sale of would be the new language. That way they can discuss both impacts at the same time on the planning and zoning. And I didn't just pull that language out of the ether. I talked to a planning and zoning member if that was an acceptable form, and it is, as far as I understand, so.
I'll second the motion to amend.
All right, has been seconded. All right, let's open the floor. We have Councilor Rosario? Was it? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Artates, go ahead.
So I'm confused on what are you trying, what is the purpose of the amendment? Because this, we're referring it to planning and zoning. It is that commission that will take this regarding, it says it right in there, the Habitat for Humanity to develop. So I'm not sure what the objective is to change the language in here.
Well, just to address that,
Yeah,
if I can, Mr. Chair, in speaking with some Planning and Zoning Commission members who were sympathetic to this issue, they thought this was the best way to go about doing it. They thought there might be a chance that a very narrowly worded article might not get fully debated. So if it's just about the sale and it's just about the plan that we're referring, the plan that we're referring looks very different than the original conception of the property. And so if we don't have, if we don't have this in there, I'm not saying they can't or won't debate it, but this way they would be encouraged to debate it, and we would note our priorities.
Well, so I just want to follow
All right,
up on that. So
let's-
I understand that, but if people attend that commission meeting, they're going to sign up and they're going to volunteer to talk about that garden. I don't think that legally, when we refer it, that's not up for debate. I mean, clearly the referral is regarding the parcels to sell and whether it's legal to do that. So yeah, I won't support that just because I'm not. I don't understand what the goal is here to do that. I'm not clear.
Okay, all right. Any other, all right. President Pro Tem Peck.
Thank you, President Dominguez. Just for clarification, if the mayor or Director Reyes could just clarify what Councilor Hart is proposing to do, what would this do to this deal or to this CAM, if anyone could explain, like...
Wait a minute, Felix. First, 8-24 refers to Connecticut General Statutes 8-24. And what that lists is the type of actions that the city can do, that if the city wants to do, they have to refer to planning and zoning first, and there's a whole list of things. I'll defer to the law director, but removing a community garden is not one of them. So I don't think it would be proper to add that to an 824 referral. I imagine that will be a part of the discussion and their consideration as to whether to recommend the sale of the properties. But I don't believe that that's a legal, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the city's lawyer, so I'll defer to the law director.
Yes, please. Then I'll direct my question to Director Lonigan, please.
Sure, yeah. So under General Statute 8-24, this is just a referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission for them to determine whether or not the proposed sale of this property is consistent with our plan of conservation and development and our zoning regulations, period. They're not looking at any other ancillary issues or items. So the issue of whether or not the garden does or does not move, or who pays for the garden to move, or if it's 2 lots or 3 lots, is really outside of the scope of what the report that's going to the Planning and Zoning Commission and being requested back to this council.
Thank you very much for clarification, because I think we have to be cautious as far as what we're doing. And, you know, I understand what Councilor Hart, you know, is trying to do in good faith of trying to, you know, have everybody covered as far as kind of helping everybody. And I see that that's what he's trying to do, but I just think we just have to be cautious as far as what we can and can't do. And from what it sounds like that you're telling me is that our hands are pretty much tied. All we're doing is referring this to Planning and Zoning for them to do their job, and then it'll come back to us anyway at some point in time.
Not necessarily your hands tied, it's just that whatever the language might be massaged to read, the only thing that the Planning and Zoning Commission can look at once it comes to them is whether or not the proposed sale is consistent with the Plan of Conservation and Development and the zoning regulations. So it could have a litany of things that you want them to review and look at, but they're not going to be able to look at that or review that legally and have that be part of the report that comes back to you.
Got it. So even if you did make those recommendations, they can't look at that anyway. They have to look at just plain and simple, cut and dry, what's before them as far as that application.
Correct. They're going to be limited to looking at only whether or not a proposed sale of these properties to Habitat is consistent with zoning regs and the POCD.
Thank you very much, Law Director Lonergan. You explained that perfectly.
Let me go to another counselor who hasn't spoken yet. Anybody else? All right. Okay. Hart.
I just wanted to ask the law director to clarify some of the finer points there. I think it was a very good question from Councilor Peck as far as whether our hands are tied. My understanding, if this is not something that must be referred, this additional language we're talking about doesn't pertain to a project that must be referred by law, is that this would be equivalent to like the whereases and the things at the beginning of a bill, which are not part of the bill, but just sort of give context and guidance. Is that a fair way to think about this? That you can't make them rule on the community garden, but you can certainly say, hey, in the context of the discussion, we're making a note of this.
The issue you run into is sometimes the laws or the statutes or the contracts that have whereas provisions specifically state that they're incorporated into and become terms and conditions of the organic document itself. So I hear what you're saying.
So maybe a poor analogy.
I guess if
Yeah.
if your concern is that they're not going to be able to talk about the gardens in the context of whether or not this sale does or does not comply or is consistent with the POCD, if the garden is sitting on one of these 3 lots, I would argue that they can talk about whatever is on those lots presently. If there are some existing features that can be the discussion if they were to go down that path. At the end of the day, though, they're limited to just whether or not it's consistent with the plan of conservation and development, the sale itself, not any of the features.
Thank you. Just to further clarify, is it fair to say that even if adding the language doesn't have any net positive effect, it can't really have any deleterious effect?
Yes, if the amendment and the language was added, it doesn't really change anything legally, but it also doesn't impede anything legally.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. I think we're, oh, okay. Councilor Sadi.
So my question is not really, right now, we're discussing the amendment, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken. So my questions are not in reference to
The
the
amendment?
amendment, but I do
So-
have questions.
Well, let's vote for the amendment first.
Right, that's
It's
what I'm
all
just
right.
saying. So
Okay,
I just
no
wanted to
problem.
make you aware that I do have questions in reference to the
Yeah, I don't think
Referral.
anybody else has questions on amendments. It's been second, who seconded the amendment, to make sure?
Mr. Sadi did.
Mr. Sadi, all right. So Councilor Sadi seconded the amendment. All right, we discussed it. All right, a yes is to add that language, which is,
To insert the phrase "removal of the community garden, comma, and" immediately before potential sale of.
okay. All right, let's vote on that. All those in favor to add this amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. 4-3. Did you vote, sir? You said aye?
So it's a 4-3.
3-4. Yeah, that's what I got.
Wait, is
No,
Peck on the record
no.
as an aye or a nay?
No, Peg, vote, when we, what I saw is 3 yes, and then we raise our hands, and I saw you raise your hand.
All right, I'll move for a
And so-
roll call vote then. I'll ask for a roll call vote then. If we could just clarify our votes, if
Is
the
that-
if
is
the
that a
show of hands
motion?
was confusing, let's just say
To-
what
to
we
make that, or-
vote.
If you'd like to do a roll call vote for clarification, that's fine.
All right, well, we're gonna have to vote on that then. Is everybody in favor of doing a roll call vote?
I do,
Yep.
because I
All right,
it's,
let's do it, let's do
Just
it.
a point of order. We
Okay.
are voting first on the amendment, which Councilor Hart has put forward.
Yes, and, yeah, and that's it. So the reality is that I saw 3 ayes and
Yeah,
4 nays.
But if it's confusing, we can just do a roll call. Yeah.
President Pro Tem, you gotta speak up.
I said it was just a little confusing. I was just confused, so I.
So
agree-
let's
I agree
do it
with-
over
I was a
again.
little confused.
Let's do it over again. That's all we're
I'd
gonna
like
do.
to have, I like Counselor Hart would like to hear a roll call vote.
All right, let's do the roll call vote for the amendment.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on. A yes is you're for the amendment, a no is that you're not for the amendment.
Councilor Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Natartez.
No.
President Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Dice.
No.
Councilor Sadi.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Peck.
No.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
You have 4 yes, 3 no.
The amendment goes.
Thank
All
you.
right, questions now?
So on the motion as amended, through you to Attorney Lonergan, who has negotiated this contract. My understanding is the contract is for either $0 or $1.
Just to clarify, I haven't negotiated anything with Habitat for Humanity. The administration and ODP has.
I can answer that. So Council Sadi, no.
Point of order. The vote and the discussion is on the CAM, and the CAM is for a referral. So I'm not about to go on a tangent at 9 o'clock at night. We want to stick by the rules of the council.
Yep.
President.
You're right.
Right, so my question is whether or not we're dealing with a contract and finances.
No. The answer is no.
And so then through you, Council President, to Attorney Lonergan, when do we set a dollar amount on this contract and stipulations as to how, when, where, and why and who's gonna pay for the community garden to be moved if in fact we decide that's what we wanna do.
That's all in the future. As of right now, all you're seeing is whether or not the Planning and Zoning Commission gives a favorable report or a not favorable report if you decide in the future to sell the property.
Thank you.
All right. Councilor Nartates,
Yeah, at this time, I'd like to move the question.
I'll second that.
S-
All right,
Vote.
let's vote. All those in favor to move the question, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, we got it, 4-3, it moves the question. No? Oh, 5.
Motion fails.
Why? It continues. Who's got the floor? Who was next? Sadie, you had your two already? Who's next with the 2 questions? Come on, if you did not move the question, President Pro Tem, you gotta have a question. Because if not, this is nonsense. Come on, guys. Why are we, why
I
are we not?
have no questions.
Why are we not doing that?
I didn't hear a call for questions, so I wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to ask their question.
Everybody, listen, we went around, everybody.
But you don't have to move the question if you
Point of
go
order,
around and no one has a
Council
question.
President.
You can just move on.
I am
You don't
personally
need it.
offended that Councilor Natartez, who is paid to be a counselor, wants to rush things through.
Hold
because it's
on.
9
Point of
o'clock
order,
at night.
point of order, point of order.
Lady Mrs.
That is
Clark
point of
is
order,
being-
sir.
The lady
Point of order,
misses
point
many,
of
many
order.
council meetings, and
Point of order,
she should
you're
be
attacking
ashamed of
somebody.
herself
You're
for
attacking
stating
somebody
that
personal.
She wants to rush this through.
She doesn't want to rush this, Sadie. She
Sure
does
she
not
does.
want to do that.
I'll respond to that. Every counselor here gets a stipend to do their homework. And that means that you read the backup material and you reach out to department heads ahead of this council, so you're not spending 20, 30, 40 minutes on one cam. And by the way, you pulled every single cam tonight. That is ludicrous. And that is a complete waste of every counselor on this council's time because you want airtime.
Resign.
Yeah.
Resign.
Okay, yeah,
All right,
don't-
point of order. The reality is,
Don't run again.
the reality
Don't
is,
want to put the time in, resign.
the reality with this is
Should
this.
be embarrassed to be here. Thank you.
The reality with this is, if you guys have questions, like right now, I looked, no one over here had a question. You know, no one had a question, so, I mean, all right, Sadie, go ahead, ask more questions. Nobody else has questions. Go ahead.
I voted, a point of order, or a statement. I voted against moving the question because I wanted every member of this council, irregardless of what the time is at night, to
Nobody's talking
have
about
the
the time.
opportunity to
Nobody's-
ask the questions that they want. I personally have no further questions. If in fact you as council president have polled everybody else and they have no questions, I'll be ready to vote. My understanding is there was going to be a motion made to table, but I guess that's not happening.
All right, so nobody else has a question. So it's gonna go back to you.
Again, I do not have
Okay.
any more questions,
All
but
right,
thank
well,
you
thank
for the
you.
opportunity.
And that's what I wanted to get, okay, all right? So now we will vote. Okay? All right. All right, let's go. Let's vote on this. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, the motion carries 7-0. Councilor Sadi.
Moved Cam. City Council approves orders number 020325-01 in the amount of $12,400 made from funding received from the United States Office of Justice Program, BJA FY 2024 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, in parentheses, JAG. The orders are given its first and second reading, and the process passes by title only, all councilors having copies, and the third reading of subject ordinance is adopted by roll call vote. My question, I believe, is to the finance department, so that will be through you to finance. $12,000 grant, and $1,400 is for uniformed overtime, $240 for training, and the other one is supplies, $10,000 721, and I'm just wondering what the supplies are.
I believe the grant is going to be used to purchase supplies for crime scene processing for the detectives to use.
Okay, and I do support this. I have no further questions.
Okay, now anybody else has questions? All right, let's vote. This is an ordinance, all right, roll call vote. City Clerk Jonathan Ayala, go ahead.
President Pro Tem Peck.
Yes.
Council Rosario.
Yes.
Council Hart.
Yes.
Council Dice.
Yes.
Council Sadi.
Yes.
Council Natartez.
Yes.
President Dominguez.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
All right, all right. All right. Sir, you're next.
Whenever you're ready, move to
Yeah,
Cam.
we're ready.
8.5, move to Cam. Contract with Mohawk Northeast Incorporated. The City Council hereby approves a contract with Mohawk Northeast in the amount of $269,000 for Phase 1, quote, 1 pre-construction and design service for Elbow Pier. City Council further authorize the mayor to sign any and all documents necessary and incidental to effectuating said contract. Funding is available under 36417399-57400 E Pier. 8.6, right? Excuse me 1 minute. No, 8.5. Okay. So this here is part of a $3 million Revolution Wind donation made to the city. And I believe of that, about 2.7 million is left over. And of that, 10% is going to be used for Phase 1 pre-construction and design. Through you, I would ask the mayor to explain the processes, please. And I have reviewed the backup.
I'd rather have Director Reyes speak to it if he's still here, but this is a design-build project. So the first phase, Mohawk has to inspect the pier, dive on the pier, and then propose a project that's within our budget for upgrading the pier. But certainly Director Reyes knows more about it.
No, I echo Mayor Pat Saros. That's exactly what we're doing. We have a limited budget. It's a design-build project. Inspections, underwater inspections have to be made. Mohawk will then come back to the city after that and provide a budget and construction for the next phasing to say, all right, after everything's been evaluated, this is how we're going to prioritize the remaining funds, and this is how we anticipate to tackle that. That will be a separate second construction contract that will come back to council.
So through you, Council President, who's not here, so.
He's not here,
Through
so,
you,
yes.
President Pro Tem Peck. Mohawk, and I understand in reading the 73 pages of backup, they do have engineers, design engineers, et cetera. Are they also going to be a construction, bidding on the construction of this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so the way we set it up is that we brought in different design build contractors where a lot of the engineering and design is in-house because it's all custom work that they have to fabricate, build. So Mohawk has the abilities to both design, engineer the project, do all the inspections, all under one roof, and then the second contract is for the use of the final dollars, for them to actually go out there and execute the agreed upon remaining scope of work.
So my statement will be that I'm going to follow your lead because I respect your decision-making. But I get a little bit concerned when somebody is designing a project that they're going to build, because then there may or may not be other bidders out there. And I understand what you're saying. They're going to design for this figure, and they're going to then bring it back to you, and then you'll bring it back.
No, that's a good point. I'll bring some more clarity on what does design mean. The design really is just inspecting. If you can imagine, they got to have, they're going to put the scuba diving equipment on. They got to go underneath, and they have to inspect. And there's not so much of a design like they're building something from scratch. What they're doing is they're designing a methodology of repairing what we currently have. That's the design that they're coming to. They're creating the scope of work that's saying, hey, these cross braces, they're holding up these piers, this has to be fixed. So they take pictures, they engineer the types of cross braces, they fabricate them, and then they install them. So it's all at the same time. They're working with the city and giving us essentially a list of priorities of this is the stuff that has to be replaced. Now again, this is why we do it in 2 phases. If and forever we're not happy and we're not satisfied with Mohawk, we have every right to take what they give us, and then we can go out to bid with that. But we went through the vetting and the RFP process, both as them being able to engineer and build. We did that. We went to the market to understand both pieces of it.
And the intent is to better the fishing piers that we have down there so that we'll be able to better service the fishing fleet. Is that correct?
100%. I mean, how often do we get to invest $3 million into this type of infrastructure? So we're going to try to make the best of it. And yes, this is all about improving the infrastructure for our fishermen.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
I asked them already, Councilor Dice, I asked you, because they said no. Do you have questions? I have a question. Nope. All right, we are going to vote. All right, this is 8.5. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, the motion carries 7-0. 8.6,
Move to CAM.
Sadi, Councilor Sadi.
City Council hereby approves the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the New London Community Recreation Center in the amount of $323,822.38. City further authorized the mayor to sign any and all documents necessary and incidental to effectuating said purchase. Funding is available in 3641739-57300COMCT.
Excuse me, Councilor Sadi, nobody seconded.
That's what I was trying to do. I'll second it.
My apologies for not looking up. So thank you, Councilor Rosario. So through you, Council President, to Director Reyes, is this all the equipment that we plan on purchasing, or is this just a portion thereof?
This is a portion. So there's going to be, so equipment is in several categories. This is the furniture of the building. This is all went out to state bid contracts. We do have a small portion of miscellaneous equipment that will go out to bid. There will be IT equipment, security equipment, audio-visual equipment in different packages. But this is the first package that's all part of the budgeted project. This is all within the same.
Thank you very much, because I was in review the backup, and it was a fairly large backup packet. Thank you very much for that. Number one, being involved in school construction projects, usually somewhere around, 10% of the budget can usually be for FF&E, and at a $40 million budget, that's $4 million as opposed to, $323,000. So
It may be $4 million, but just for transparency, our general contractor, it has has FF&E within their already built into their contract. Then there's owner responsibility. This is the stuff that we're responsible for that the contractor's not going to purchase as part of FF&E. But yeah, there's a lot more FF&E throughout this project. This is just the actual more of the furniture and fixtures that we're going to see in our offices.
thank you very much. I have no further questions. Oh,
All right.
I apologize, I do have one other question. Will this increase the cost of the contract? Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right. You got your two. All right, let's go to Councilor Dice, and then we'll go to President Pro Tem.
I was gonna bring up, that is a part of the, budget, correct?
This is all part, this is all, non-hard construction costs, these are all budgeted line items.
And April, what's going on in April?
So, well, April 30th is the substantial completion date of the community center.
What?
April 30th, yeah, the construction will, then we begin the move-in process, which is furniture, IT,
Oh, okay.
setting up cameras, but substantial complete on the construction of the building is complete, scheduled right now, April 30th.
Wow. President Pro Tem Peck, go ahead.
Thank you, President Dominguez. Through you to Director Reyes. I just have a question about, is this like all the furniture? I know you said is this all the furniture?
Yeah,
So this is like,
So we sent out a package for state bidding contracts, and sometimes everything you put out the market, not everybody bids on it, but this is all the piece that we've got that's followed the city process, city procurement process. Everything else, miscellaneous stuff, there's still about $100,000 worth of miscellaneous stuff that the procurement director has sent out to multiple state vendors to get costs for. So we still have a little bit of piece. Things like basketballs, volleyballs, a volleyball net, there's miscellaneous stuff, wrestling mat, there's miscellaneous stuff that we still need that local vendors are submitting costs on. But this really, if you think about, these are like the desks, tables, chairs, all the office equipment, file cabinets, things of that nature throughout the building. That's what this is.
okay, thank you.
Questions, let's go. All right, this is 8.6. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All
Mr.
right.
President, I just want to reflect that I abstain
Oh, I'm sorry.
due to my
My-
relationship with an athletic equipment supplier. Thank you.
All right, so that vote is 6, and then 1 abstention. Thank you, sir. The motion carries. All right, let's go to 8.7, Downs Construction Prime change orders. That's you, Counselor, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Counselor Sadi, that's you.
Move to Cam.
Good.
City Council hereby approves prime change order number 105 and number 115 with Downs Construction in the amount of $23,396. Council further authorizes the mayor to sign setting all documents necessary and effectuating. Apologize, just that last one had 130-something pages or 140 pages. Just bear with me, please, till I get my notes. Okay, yeah. So this one here did go out to bid, but not really out to bid, it just, it extended the contract. So the question is this within the budget, or is this outside of the budget?
Yeah, so at this point in the project, any change orders that are coming to you are all currently covered within our contingency.
You said within the budget?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Anybody else? All right, let's vote. 8.7, Downs Construction Prime change orders. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Motion.
President Dominguez, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting at 9:19, sir.
All right, can I get a second?
Second, Jocelyn Rosario.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carried. This meeting has adjourned at 9:19 p.m. Thank you. Have a good night. Drive safely.